and welcome to my fourth video looking at the lost football grounds of Colwyn Bay FC, loosely based on my book, available in paperback and to download onto Kindle worldwide on Amazon. By the early 1960s, mainly due to the influence of Stan Chadderton, manager of the Queen's Hotel, the football club began to spark back into life again. In 1961, it won its first trophy for 30 years when it shared the 1961 North Wales Coast FA Cup. Then with Stan Chadderton, good times were had from the 1962-3 season through to the 1965-6 season. A number of cups were won, and the Welsh League North League Championship was won 1964-5. But by January 1966, Stan Chadderton was indicating in the press that the club was feeling the financial pinch, and that began a period of around some 8 years of serious financial struggles for the club. A new committee stepped in, led by Alan Banks, Glyn Owens, Margaret Jones. Debts mostly owed to local businesses were honourably paid back. And then 1973-4 season, under the guidance of player manager, ex-Chester player Alan Pritchard, the team unexpectedly won the 1974 Cookson Cup final. They also had the experienced and excellent Elfed Morris in the team. And that seemed to spark the club back into life again. 1975, already at the team, a friend of both Elfed Morris's and Alan Pritchard's, because he played in a Chester team with them. Bryn Jones was appointed player manager, as the club now was pushing for success. Ray stayed with the club for 4 seasons, put together a good team, but unfortunately didn't win a thing. Ray then went to manage Real Football Club, and the Colwyn Bay committee appointed Trevor Roberts as manager, and an unprecedented period of success lasting a number of years began. John was manager of Colwyn Bay Football Club from 1979-80 to 1981-82. He won 1 league championship for Colwyn Bay and 6 cups. I think it's going to rain. John then departed, I think, for Carnarvon Town, and within hours of his departure, Alan Banks, Glyn Owens, the Colwyn Bay committee promptly appointed Bryn Jones. I could do an entire video about the impact of Bryn Jones on Colwyn Bay FC. And within his first 2 years as player manager, Bryn Jones had trumped even Trevor Roberts' achievements by winning 2 league championships, 4 cups, and he got the club to the Welsh Cup semi-final, where they played then First Division Swansea City. Just as that game was about to occur, in February 1983 was when Colwyn Bay Football Club moved from its ground here to just over there, the Eirias Park Arena, for one season and a bit. The club already knew it was having a new ground prepared for it, further out of town in Old Colwyn, up Llanellian Road. But in the meantime, you have to remember as well, at the time, round here it was chaos due to A55 construction work going full steam ahead. So while the club was waiting for its new Llanellian Road football ground to be built, it played there in the arena for a season and a bit. But this bank that I've spent much of my time standing on this morning, I'll just put a little photograph up from 1965, part of a report leading up to the Bay playing in an FA Cup game. And there's the bank there in the background, behind the faces of the players there. The bank today is of course wider and higher than the bank behind that north or bottom goal was back then. But that gives you an indication of what was here. When Colwyn Bay FC played its last game of football here on the 26th of February 1983, I think an old Colwyn Bay fan could have stood in the middle of the pitch, looked around, and he or she would have seen a very little difference to how the ground looked back in December 1953, because the club was simply not allowed to develop the ground. The Eirias Park Arena, where the club played at for the last couple of months of the 1982-3 season and for the entirety of the 1983-4 season, while the club was waiting for its brand new Llanellian Road football stadium to be built. The arena wasn't anything like this when the football club played here. In fact, it was completely empty, more or less. The leisure centre over there, where you can see the RGC signs on the side, had been built. But the stand there, which I think was built around the mid to late 1980s after the club had left, that wasn't there. And that large stand over there, which we'll take a closer look at in a moment, that certainly wasn't there. Today, this is an elite sports stadium, to be fair, so well done the local council there. I think it can hold 6,080 people for the Rugby under 21 internationals. Wales have played here quite a number of times. Rugby Union, Six Nations internationals that they hold here, and There's a rugby league team that uses this facility as well. They've also had pop concerts or rock concerts, whatever you want to call them here. And when they do that, people are allowed to stand on the pitch. Stage is usually built this end, and it can safely accommodate some 15,000 people. That's actually an AstroTurf rugby pitch there. I don't know how rugby players' bodies cope with crashing into an AstroTurf pitch. I don't know if there's been an increase in shoulder, hip type injuries because of it. It was a pretty convenient move for the football club because it meant it could still use its changing rooms, which had been built around here somewhere by the council in July 1951. Red apples, they're starting to fall. We're into August now, so a very nice distraction. Really is an excellent facility, to be fair. I remember when all this area was grass, and during the time the football club played here, people used to park their cars around the edge of the arena facing in. Many said so they didn't have to pay to come and watch the football club play here. Though many people that were sat in the cars watching the game said there was nowhere to shelter in the arena and they'd already purchased a season ticket, which was disputed on many occasions. And I think that's when the council decided to start planting conifer type hedges and bushes. So of course you now cannot see into the arena from out here. Here's another look at that large south stand from outside the arena. I'll put up a photograph now, taken from 1982-83 season, and you can see that there was once a large terrace where that large stand is now, and all there was really at the top of the terrace there, you can see a couple of buildings. I think one of them was a bit of a cafe and a portable toilet, I seem to remember, though I could be wrong. And to the right there, I think that was Alan Banks's secretary's office, stroke bit of a storeroom that was moved, I think, from next to the stand over in the old Eirias Park ground. It's windy here, so I hope you can hear me. The stadium can now hold 6,080 people, I think. If I'm wrong, I'll put the actual figure up on the screen now. Now think about that a moment. The stadium that Colwyn Bay Football Club had before the war could hold 7,500 people. And that's the end of my story about the football grounds where Colwyn Bay have played since 1881. The club's final ground, Llanellian Road in Old Colwyn, remains the club's ground to this day, so it's not an old or ex-ground. The club moved there in 1984. But what we will do, if possible, I'll go up there one day. We'll take a look around the ground. I'll hopefully dig out some old photographs of what the ground used to look like when the club first moved there, and how it's developed over the years. And that will be the final video in this series. So once again, thanks for watching my videos. See you again soon, hopefully. Take care. Bye.